Welcome to Red-tastic. Story 1. Am I the a-hole for telling my son that from now on I'm always going to take his father's side? This is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm posting it on the internet. But I'm sure as hell not telling my friends. So my husband and son have always had issues. We gave our kids a lot of opportunities, and my husband feels like our son threw everything away. He graduated college 3 years ago with barely passing grades and wanted to start his own company. We both urged him against it, but I convinced my husband to give him the first part of his trust and let him make his own mistakes. My son wants to be a sock designer. I'm not knocking that, but it sounds pretty hard to break into. Well, my son blew through the money, sketched up a lot of socks with very little results, and came crawling back for more money. My husband was furious, and I'm an idiot. So I gave my son a very small amount of money from my personal inheritance. He blew through that as well, and my husband was not happy with me. Now my son has his girlfriend pregnant, no money, no job. And when we try to give him suggestions, he say we want him to be more traditional and masculine like his father and brother. I don't care if he wants to be a sock designer, but at some point you have to put your dreams aside and take care of your responsibilities. At the same time, I feel hypocritical because I got to do what I was passionate about with a lot of help from my dad, but it was somewhat more feasible than being a sock designer. So my son and his girlfriend came over the other day, and the girlfriend asked me to help buy baby clothes. I said that I would, and she asked if she could just have the money because she doesn't like my taste. I told her I went to Starbucks this morning and they're hiring. Now I realized that was a little bishy, but who asks someone money like that? Well, my son told me I need to treat them both with more respect, and my husband said it's hard to respect someone who currently sleeps on a couch. They got into a screaming match, and my husband told him to take his slums project girlfriend and get out. I did bish at my husband when they left for saying that. My son called me very upset and asked for some more money from my inheritance. I told him absolutely not. And he accused me of loving his father more than him. I thought that was a very weird thing to say, because of course I love my husband more than anyone. I didn't tell my son that. I told him his dad was right about everything, except the slums project thing that was uncalled for. And from now on, I will always take his dad's side. He called me a bish and hung up. Information: I really don't think he has an addiction because I see the cars my son's gone through and the trips he takes and his designer shoe collection. I can definitely see where the money went. You're not the a-hole, OP. You've done your absolute best for your son, but he just doesn't appreciate or put the resources you gave him to good use. You're not wrong to agree with your husband now, even though his language was harsh. Your son has proven you wrong and him right. He needs to stop acting entitled and start acting like an adult with responsibilities, because he will be having a lot of them with his pregnant girlfriend. I will advise that you try and have a civil conversation with your son and see where that leaves you. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole mostly. You gave him opportunities and helped support his dream of making socks. He's acting irresponsibly. So, irresponsibility that he is either very ill-equipped to handle the real world, or he could be an addict. You need to tell him that you love him and his girlfriend and their future child, and that you want to be involved in their lives, but you will no longer be available to help him financially. Tell him that and stick to it. There is no more money. No money for birthdays, no loans, nothing. Not the a-hole. You've helped him out considerably in the past and against both your own and your husband's better judgment. Your son and his girlfriend sound spoiled and entitled. The best thing for them now is a big dose of reality, which they won't get if you keep bailing them out. Also, that girlfriend sounds like a brat. Don't buy baby clothes. Actually give the money because I don't like your taste. Like, don't ask for handouts and then insult the person you want to buy you stuff. Not the a-hole. You have been more than supportive of your son's dreams by giving him money not just from his own trust, but from your own as well. While it's unfortunate that his failed business has essentially left him bankrupt, the fact that he has a pregnant girlfriend and no motivation to get a job is alarming. It's up to him now to get his life back on track and find a way to support his family that doesn't involve looking for handouts. Apologize for the snarky comments that were made, but not for the fact that he's lost your trust. By the way, has he ever thanked you for the money you've already given him? Please don't give him another cent until he shows some gratitude for the help you've already given him and shows you that he can be at least somewhat responsible with money. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for letting my stepson call me dad? Background. My wife and I married when her son was 8. She shared 50-50 custody with the father, which was fine. I have a daughter from my late wife, and his mother and I have a daughter of our own. I've always treated them equally when he's here and made sure he felt included as much as possible. When he was 12, he decided to live with us permanently. He said that after his second brother was born, they pretty much ignored him. His father stopped doing things with him and neglected him when he was there. It was bad, especially because his stepmom was verbally abusive. Since he started living with us at 12, I tried my best to bond with him. I would play video games with him, be there for his basketball games, teach him how to repair things around the house, basically be a dad till he eventually called me dad. I didn't bother correcting him because I definitely saw him as my own son, and my wife thought it was cute too. My son only saw his biological dad when the guy actually asked to see him, which was like 2-3 times a year at best. He just turned 16 about a week ago, and for his birthday, I got him his first car. At that point, his dad was pretty much a deadbeat. I gave him $15,000 to pick out whatever he wanted, because I did the same a few years ago when my daughter turned 16. He got his car and posted a picture of the two of us with his new Honda with the caption, "The best birthday gift from the best dad I could ask for. Thanks for being there when I needed you most." Not gonna lie, I cried a bit when I saw it. Not long after, my wife and I had a series of angry phone calls and messages from his biological dad, accusing us of alienating him from his son, and how I took away the experience of getting his kid his first car, which was funny because the guy was collecting unemployment. I asked him why he called me angrily instead of calling his son for his birthday, and I hung up. Since then, my wife and I have been getting tons of calls and messages from him and his wife. Thankfully, they didn't take it to social media, so my son doesn't know about it. I talked to my buddies and they're split. Most of them said I was doing the right thing by stepping up, but some said that I shouldn't have gotten too close to him. So what does Reddit think? Am I the a-hole? Edit. Thank you so much for the overwhelming support. I honestly thought I may have been the a-hole in this in some way. Thank you for the platinum, gold, and a bunch of other awards. You guys are awesome. Don't worry, I'm definitely going to continue being a dad to my son. He's an amazing kid with a kind heart. You're not the a-hole, OP. Your son's father is the a-hole here. He's just jealous you did a better job parenting his child than he ever did. I hate parents like this. I have to say you're doing a great job and thank you. I can tell your son really meant it when he said you were there for him when he really needed you. For your friends who said you shouldn't have gotten close to your son, cut them off. They suck. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. He deserves to have a good father figure in his life. The only person your son's biological dad has to be mad at is himself for being such a shitty parent. I can't imagine ever letting anyone abuse my kids or neglect them. You stepped up where he failed and he's mad now. Also, what did your friends who say you overstepped expect you to do? Treat him as less than your other kids? That would be such a horrible thing to do. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing. My wife had a deadbeat dad. Her stepdad came into the picture when she was 3. He raised her as his own and is a great-grandfather now to our kids. Her deadbeat only contacted her when she got out of high school and didn't say too much, I guess. He has since tried to send our kids gifts once he found out he has grandkids, but we aren't letting him in their life. He didn't want to be in my wife's for so long. We felt it would be best. Just from her stories and the way he acts, he only wants to be around when something big happens, and he's missing out. It sounds exactly the same as your story. There is guilt, and it comes out when big moments arise. Not the a-hole. Most definitely not the a-hole. As your son said, you were there for him when he needed you most. And the fact that he feels comfortable with calling you dad shows you are doing a wonderful job. Don't let his biological dad get to you. He's feeling salty because your son realized what a crap job he's done. And he's probably feeling a little ashamed that he's been shown up. Keep nurturing the relationship you have with your son. And be happy in the knowledge that you're doing the right thing. You are teaching him that being a good dad is much more than just a biological bond. It's a choice. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay back my sister the rest of the money I stole from her because she's now married to a super rich man? Back when I was using, I stole a couple $100s from my sister. I'm not proud of it and have tried my best to repay her back. I have currently been sober for a year. Recently, my sister got married to a very wealthy man. Since then, she hasn't wanted for anything. I'm happy for her. Since she got married though, I have sort of slowed down how much I have been paying her back, and I haven't sent her any money in a couple weeks. She has so much money now that anything I could ever give her wouldn't matter, and paying her back honestly makes me even more broke than I already am. And I need every penny I can get. My sister was over at my house this week helping me just clean and get my stuff together. I have recently moved. At one point, while we took a break, she turns to me and asks me when I'm going to give her the rest of the money I owe her. I kind of looked at her incredulously and said that she couldn't really expect me to pay her back when she now has so much money already. She got pissed at me and said that it was the money I owed her and that I need to pay her back. I told her she was being greedy and that she had enough money. She told me I was still acting like her junkie thief brother and left my place after that. She won't respond to my calls or texts asking her to meet up with me and talk about it since then. I worked so hard getting myself to the point I'm at. And I have so little money already, and she had so much, that I don't really know if I'm actually the a-hole for not wanting to pay her back. Am I the a-hole? Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. You are sober now, but part of amends is apologizing for what you did while using and also owning it. It's only a few $100s more. You can get there. Keep paying her back little by little. It doesn't matter if you take a long time to pay her back. But if you don't pay her back small amounts on a regular schedule, then yes, you are still acting as selfish as your past junkie self. I'm sorry if that's harsh, but her having a rich husband has nothing to do with the fact that you stole from her. Perhaps a constructive way of dealing with this impasse is to reach out to your sister and apologize for putting your foot in it. Explain that you're still struggling to get your finances together and ask her if she is willing to extend to you a grace period before starting repayment. Agree on a plan that is acceptable to her. Example, in X amount of months, I will start repaying you X amount of dollars every week. If she agrees, thank her for her understanding and compassion, and stick to the plan. You did bad. You need to make it right. Good luck and congratulations on your sobriety. That's amazing. As a fellow addict in recovery who's been in the exact same situation, regardless of how much money anyone has, it's still the principle behind it. If you stole a piece of jewelry and she still got married to a wealthy man, would you still try to replace it? Yes. Money is no different. 4.5 years into my recovery and I still want to pay back what I owe, even though a few people don't remember. It's the principle. So unfortunately, you're the a-hole for assuming that you shouldn't need to pay it back. It was hers and you took it. Therefore, you need to replace it, regardless of how much it was or how much you have.